Is there popping or anything, or this is
God
nice?
has a hedge around you. His mercy and love surround you wherever you go.
Are we going? All right,
Okay.
then. Hello.
right.
Yeah.
Hello.
All right. So this isn't technically a Seth Talks podcast, but we have a guest on today. My name is Seth Johnson. This is a very special guest for me. I'm not going to introduce her too much, but she means a lot to me. She's done amazing things for the world and for me in my life, and I wanted to have the opportunity to have her on camera and capture this moment with you, and just this is like a beautiful moment in time, and we're able to capture this, even if it's 5-10 minutes, however long it is, but this is out for the world. So it's cool. Would you like to introduce yourself? What's your name?
I'm honored to be here. My name is Angela Johnson. I'm Seth's mother. And I've been waiting on this interview for a couple of years. Everyone else in the family had their illustrious interview, so mine just got to be done in more royal fashion, I'll say.
Yeah.
So I'm real happy to be here. Thank you, sir. Okay.
So I have a couple of questions. Just want to
Wonderful.
kind of go with. So we know your name. Where are you from?
Well, I was born in Huntsville, Alabama, and it's Roll Tide. That's one of the slogans because it's big on football down there, and NASA is also huge there. But I was born there, and I lived there until I was maybe two or three, and then my family moved to Ohio, and we lived there for a few years. We moved around quite a bit. So I lived in Lynchburg, Virginia after Ohio, and then finally at age 13, I moved to Hagerstown, Maryland.
Interesting.
Big adjustment, but that's where I would say I was born and raised, in those places.
Do you have a big family?
I do have a pretty big family. My nuclear family, it was just me. I have two other sisters, so I'm the middle child. So my mom, my dad, and my other two sisters. And I am 7 years older than my younger sister, and 7 years older than my youngest sister, and 2 years younger than my oldest sister.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
But later on, I acquired beautiful siblings, 6 more siblings. Wow. When I was 20 years old, my mother adopted 6 children. So, and I have lots and lots of brothers and sisters.
What was it like having 6 siblings?
Well, at that time, it was great. They were like my children. I was already in college, so I kind of helped raise them basically, and so they were like my children.
Wow.
Pretty much, and I really loved having them. They were adorable, really cute. It was really, really cool.
Neat. So you mentioned college. What do you do kind of for, I guess, occupation?
Well, I am a registered nurse. So I went to college to study for my Bachelor's of Science in Nursing. I went to college in Tacoma Park, Maryland. And I went to school on a full ride because I'm also a singer, vocalist. So I won the Maryland Gifted and Talented Scholarship, which paid for my entire college career. So I was like one of very few people like Kenny Lattimore also won that award. But yeah, it was really, really cool. But nursing was my profession, and it still is. I've just gotten back into it a little.
Okay.
But yeah.
Wow. So how did you mentioned a scholarship. That's a big deal. This is like a full ride?
Full ride.
Wow. So how did you end up in that position of getting a scholarship that
Well,
big?
I started singing when I was in middle school, and I started singing. The first time I sang and realized I could sing was right before we moved to Hagerstown. I was singing in the church choir, and I did a duet with someone from the choir. I hadn't actually ever sung a solo, and when I got up there and saw the people's faces as I was singing, and I was like, everyone was like, "Oh my gosh, she's got something." Wow. So that was the point I realized I could sing. At that time, I was 12 going on 13. Wow. When I moved to Hagerstown, I started singing in chorus, and I sang for the graduations in middle school and high school. I sang all throughout the community. I sang gospel groups that were like with women who were like 2 times my age.
Jeez.
At 18, I joined the amazing group. That I did that. I sang in Carnegie Hall with the chorale from my college.
Wow.
I did a lot of singing, so I actually was recommended in high school by my teacher, Mr. Brumback. And he was the only black male teacher that I had in my career, and he recommended me for the scholarship. So I went to Loyola and I sang a song that I was singing like every week in the church. My father was a pastor, so I would sing every week in the church. And so I sang a song called "It Must Be Love," and I sung a cappella, and I got it. Yeah.
Wow. Sheesh. That's really cool.
It was
You
great.
said it's called It Must Be Love.
It must be love.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Wow. That's nuts. All right. Let me see here. Okay. So that really answered, like, I guess a lot of questions. And like you said, you started at 12 and you realized, I guess, from like the people around you's response to your singing, and then it led on to a path of you doing other things, a bunch of different things with singing.
Yeah.
When you first got that, I guess, recognition from other people about it, what did you feel to do with the gift you found?
It was almost like a thing that I did as easy as laughing. So a lot of my friends I went to school with, if I run into them now, the first thing they'll say is, "Oh, I remember you would just go through the halls singing all the time." And at lunchtime, everybody would say, "Angie, can you sing something for us?" I'd be singing in the lunchroom or the cafeteria time, and it was just like a source of love and light and enjoyment for people. And I just loved to just sing. I never had a fear of singing because I sang every weekend, but it really felt natural, like talking. I'm a natural talker. So I would be in trouble in class for talking in class, but everyone would look over all that because I was this amazing singer. I would sing a lot of Whitney Houston songs, which looking back now, that was pretty remarkable at 13 to be able to sing those songs. And it was just natural. I didn't have vocal training at all until I got into my maybe 30s. So it was just a gift that I was given.
Wow.
But I just thought of it as something wonderful, and I saw that it made people feel good to hear me sing. So I just would sing whatever.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's really cool. So like, what, if there's any story that you can recall of like a time maybe somebody came to you saying like, "Yo, your singing touched me in some way," or something. Maybe it was an environment somebody came to you. Is there any story like that
Oh, wow.
that you have? Or?
I'll tell this one story. This is later in life, when I was working as a nurse and I was doing private duty pediatrics, so I took care of children in their homes. And so I had one little boy who passed away, and I'd really only worked with his family maybe for about a month, and I filled in. And they called and asked me to sing for his funeral. And so I went and sang, and to see the actual comfort that they received from me showing up and singing that little baby on into his transition, it really was amazing to look at the solace and comfort that my voice gave to people. So I knew it was something, you don't own it. It's something that I never felt like being selfish with. It's a thing that touches people and makes them live another day. Just singing in general, people would come up to me crying, whether it was at church. And I've had people come up to me and say, I didn't know if I was going to make it today till I heard you sing. I've had that many times. Many times I had that. So it becomes a thing you say, oh, well, something bigger is moving through me to make sure people make it.
Wow.
That's what it's like. Yeah.
So it sounds like it's like singing has the same effect maybe as a nursing career would too. And it's funny that you do both of those.
Yeah.
So do you agree that I guess maybe your singing is in a way just as impactful as the nursing and like the home care that you do for people?
Absolutely. I believe they're both healing modalities. I would say a natural healer. People will say the same thing about my singing that they say about a hug from me. People I just meet, if they hug me, they want to hug me and they say I feel like mama or their mother. And at the same time in high school, when I was getting all the accolades for singing, I got recommended for an internship for nursing. So I got to, in my junior year, work in the hospital as a nurse intern in Hagerstown. It was Washington County Hospital at the time, and they've closed down. But the experiences I had, I saw that moving through the hospital, people felt better just by me coming in the room. It wasn't so much the procedures or things, but me being there changed the dynamic. And people would say, if I missed a day, oh, we missed you so much. And I knew that it was, again, that same thing that was coming through my voice comes through you. Yeah. Whatever you're doing.
So how do you do that? Like, how do you be that and have that type of effect, but like kind of selflessly, like recognizing that like my voice is something that comes through me, this healing is something that comes through me, but not like beating your chest about it in any way. It doesn't seem like you do that.
Well, no, you said a key word, being it. You already are that, which means you can't take credit for acquiring it because I didn't go out and seek to become those things. It was already there, and something had enough grace to have me aware to use that, and other people sends people to say, hey, will you sing for me? And those are the things. If you become selfless with your gifts, then it shows you who you are being, but not what you are acquiring. Yeah, that's how I see it. So it's nothing to beat my chest about. I still have the same nerves that some people say they have sometimes. There can be moments where you feel like, oh gosh, am I good enough? But when you just get up there, something happens when you get that microphone in your hand, or when you just open your mouth and it comes out, that goes. It's just like a wind. It's just gone. And yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, question. Is there anybody that has, with the effect and things that you've described, is anybody that's maybe impacted you in that way? Of feeling that, like, that sort of inspiration or that healing or that love, maybe from a talent they have or conversation? Is there anything like?
Well, you're one of those people. Because I'll tell this about you. First of all, when I was around 16 years old, I remember being in church, and this couple had just had a newborn baby. And he was this beautiful chocolate baby. And I would sit in church and just hold that little boy. And I remember thinking, boy, I would love for my son to be a little beautiful chocolate baby like this. And like, you came here with the ability to speak to me the way I speak. Like, you'll talk to me for hours about metaphysics and deep concepts and music and all of these things that I love to talk about. Scorpionic things, we have that. So I'm a Scorpio, sun, moon, Mars, Venus. My sun is everything pretty much. So I have a Scorpio moon son, and I have a Scorpio sun grandson. But you're one of those people, my children and your father. When I met your father at 25, he was somebody that like came in and seemed to be eager to give me all of my dreams. Like, I had things like, I hadn't gone to a lot of concerts. I was raised very like religious, so most of the time I was Seventh-day Adventist. So we went sunset Friday, sunset Saturday. We didn't do anything really that wasn't related to church. So I didn't go to a lot of concerts, games, dances, any of those things, because they were mostly on those nights. So when I met your father, he took me to concerts for like all of the singers I loved. I kid you not. So one singer that I loved was Vanessa Bell Armstrong. And like our second date, he's like, I'm taking you to a concert. I'm like, who? He's like, oh, Vanessa Bell. Like, what? So standing there and seeing her, I got to see Yolanda Adams with him. We would go to Jazz Fest, and I got to see Ray Charles with him. He was executive at Children's Hospital Center, and they would do this thing called Jazzmatazz. And this is really within the first 2 months of us meeting. So B.B. King was there. Jonathan Butler was there, all of these great artists, and I'm like walking around in like this, who dropped me into my like dream life. But moments like that were just amazing. But I had a lot of people along the way that spoke to me, and even in my profession, I met nurses. I had an aunt. She passed away, but she was my motivation for nursing, because I loved being around her because she always knew what to do. When your older sister T was about 2 years old, when she was little, she always snored. She had nose problems. So I remember sitting next to her, and she knew how to, open the airway while we were sitting, and we were at my father's wedding. And so she just knew. She reached over and tilted her little chin back, and she stopped snoring. And I was like, that's cool. Just the way that there's a seamless way of moving there. It's angelic kind of with some nurses, and she had that gift. So it made me really want to use that more. So I've met a lot of people that just were inspirational. Yeah, to me.
That quality of always knowing what to do and stuff. That's how I feel about you and Dad.
Wow.
I feel like y'all always know what it doesn't matter what scenario it is, on a more personal kind of level.
Yeah.
It's like something I'm going through. If I come to you with something, I talk to you about it, blah blah.
Yeah.
It seems like you've been through it and already know it. But it could be age, I don't know.
Wow.
But it feels like, because it's like maybe DNA in some way, my experiences have been shared to you and Dad, and I can come to you guys, and y'all have the ticket for it. And even just generally in life.
Wow.
If I'm sick, or one of my sisters, J-T, is sick.
Yeah.
You guys know what to do.
Oh.
The pockets aren't that deep one week.
Yeah.
You get something to eat. Y'all figure something
Wow.
out. So that's the quality I admire in you guys.
Oh.
People like, how the f- y'all know what to do? It's magical.
Oh.
So
Wow. Well, I think it's in part, or I feel like it's in part, just the willingness to see each other in that way. The regard that I have and care for your well-being, and the deep love I have for you allows the answer to be there. It allows me to be there at a time when you need to say, hey, Mom, I don't have anything. It's done through us, I think, because it's important for me for you to know that I'm there for you. It's just a thing. So in those ways, you'll feel like I showed up for you. So I think that's what it is. But it's great.
definitely check that. I always felt like you were there.
Wow.
I always feel like
Yeah. I love being with you. I love being around you. So, and hopefully not in a smothery way. I don't think I'm smothery, but you're just like, my children are like my favorite people to be around. You could drive me crazy sometimes. Y'all are just because you're little me's. But your presence is amazing. I feel like you're royalty walking around me. I really do.
You always want to have kids?
Oh, yeah. Oh, my gosh. Well, you know my energetics kind of, but I have a mothery type physical essence. And I always love babies. I've always been able to hold babies, and they fall right to sleep. And this is as a child. So babies don't cry with me. I've always felt this maternal nature. I love little babies, so I was always the one holding babies, so I definitely wanted to have children. Yeah, that's why I had children early. I had your sister at 21. And it didn't seem like she just come on along with me, She's my little Ace Boone. And I love having children. I'm glad I didn't have a boatload. I at the time, I thought that I could. Like, I could have had a lot of children, I felt. But once I raised children, like 3 was good. Because I had energy and time to actually have patience with you enough and to be present with you all in a way that I think that was best. So, yeah.
Did you ever feel any, especially having kids at a young age, did you feel like it was any type of hindrance on you and what you wanted to do with your...
I was told that it would be, but it never was. Another person that influenced me was my midwife when I was pregnant with your sister. And at the time, I was in my junior year of college, and people around me were saying, you're going to ruin your life, because I was always the stellar student and kind of the person. People always thought that I should be a star, So I have Aquarius children, you're all a star. But she said to me, I said, well, do you think I should have this child? Because everyone's saying it'll ruin my life, and I want to be able to do what I need to do. She said, well, why wouldn't you be able to do what you need to do? She said, I have 6 children. and I'm standing here, your midwife, and it clicked like, yeah. When did children become a thing that stopped you from achieving your goals and dreams? No, they get to watch you achieve those things in a beautiful way. And I think that's why y'all are so amazing too, because I didn't go and tell you what I did. A lot of it, you grew up with me. A lot of the things I learned, everything pretty much I learned, I talked to you all about at the time. I learned it as I'm raising you. So you got the benefit of the information and knowledge that I acquired growing up, and you got it as you were growing up. Yeah.
Yeah, I do really feel like I grew up with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's only 19 years, and so that's only a portion of your life.
Yeah.
But like the different stages I've seen you go through and your dad go through.
Yeah.
Being able to see you guys like learn and grow and develop.
Yeah.
And being able to see that, and it's not like, because I'm young and I'm a child, like that's hidden from me.
Yeah.
See you be wrong or learn or go through
Yeah.
hard times. I can see all
Yeah.
that. And with that, I can see you guys' strength and power and wisdom and all these really cool things.
Wow.
And like, never for a moment do I forget the power that you possess.
Hmm.
Ever. It's never like, oh, mom didn't use her. Oh, you use it in everything you do.
Wow.
And I always see that.
Really?
Y'all do. Like, coolest people.
Wow. Okay. Wow. Yeah. Yeah. If I never hear anything else, that the job well done to myself. That's what I'm saying. You never really felt like a child. You've always been very mature and like you seem very together. You were not a child that did a lot of screaming and crying. I think your sister Jayla was the one who was she was louder, but she wasn't even a crier there. But I've always had this presence and these eyes that looked like you were a baby, but you were not a baby. There's something very deep and wise in your eyes, and now I see as you grew up. But that's really how you've always had that presence. It's really cool. You're a wonderful child to raise, and I remember like your teachers in preschool were always just in love with you. They looked out for you. You have this thing inside of you that makes other people want to just be around you, even though you were like 4 years old. Yeah, and you end up being someone people come to talk. So you're equally as amazing to witness, I will say. No bias, I'm not partial. Oh. This is so cool, I want to say. I'm having a great time.
Should we close it with something else? Or,
Would you like to sing a tune?
Ew, what?
Oh, yeah.
Sing what? What tune?
What was that song that you said you did at Carnegie?
Oh, wait, you mean It Must Be Love that I did for my thing? Oh, okay, yeah.
You can do it.
Whatever your favorite song is.
Sure.
Even if it's like 10 seconds of it.
I'll just throw in that. That's cool. It went, why would you, the God of greatness, simply love someone like me? And how could you, so pure and perfect, know my faults, yet meet my needs? I'll never know or understand just what you see in me. My mind is amazed to think your plan includes me for eternity. It must be love. It must be love. In spite of who I am, you still came to where I was. Although my life is torn and scarred, there's room for me inside your heart. I find no other reason but this one. It must be love.
Wow. You want a scholarship?
Yes, I would. Yes, I would.
Wow. Thank you.